For over 2 years, Fantail Studios has been on an incredible journey filming Lucky Te Koha and the Kingdom Brotherhood team as they share the radical healing power of Jesus Christ with the Mongrel Mob Kingdom and the Whakatane Black Power MGs. As this feature film, Mana Atua, meaning the greatness of God, nears completion, we're believing this will be a movie that not only showcases how relentless and unconditional God's love is, but this will also give viewers the opportunity to look beyond the gang patch and see the hearts of the individuals behind them. As we eagerly anticipate the release of Mana Atua, we'd like to introduce some of the key individuals that we've had the pleasure of meeting along the way.
Joining us in the studio today is Captain Billy Mihinui, Mongrel Mob TNT Tani Atua. So in the studio with us today is the captain of Mighty Mongrel Mob TNT Tani Atua, Billy Mihinui. Good to have you with us, brother.
Tēnā koe, brother.
Good for you. Good having you here with us. It's awesome, bro. Just to get a time to just share your heart, and it's your heart that we want to show. This massive heart that you have for people, bro. You know, as like I said yesterday and with some of the others, just honour you for what you do, your mahi, the job that you do, and how much heart you put into it. You and your wahine, you and your waiwhai and the brothers with you, man, you do an amazing job. So I just want to honour you before we start anything else. So, yeah, mean, bro. Mean.
Thank you, my brother.
And I just look back at the first time I met you, and so we'll start there. The first time I met you was at Ruatoki, at a whanau that we were doing for the Kingdom Brotherhood, and you turned up. And you know, I was thinking about it when you turned up because it was a Black Power hui, a Black Power whananga, and then you walked, boldly as, bro. And I just warmed my heart, bro, when you walked in, just how you were, and I want to know, what made you come, bro? What was it that made you come to that whananga? Being a Black Power whananga.
So that day, I was just doing my normal things with my family, supporting other whānaus. I got back home in the evening, and then I got a call. And I got this call from one of our Black Power brothers that are in our ropus. So I run ropus, mana enhancing stop taking our people, it's the acronym. And he rang us up and he says, brother, there's a mobster up here. And I says, hey, oh, what's going on up there? He goes, oh, we're having a Black Power one, and there's a mobster up here, but he's by himself. I says, oh, I won't be long. And so I just, because I know a couple of our Black Power brothers, we all grew up together in our whārua. I just probably, and I got a bit of a big ego too, so just go out there, see if our brother's all right.
Yeah.
Then when I got up there, that was the first time I ever came across Kingdom Brotherhood.
Yeah.
That day. Saw our brother Duke, all by his lonesome, proud as they, doing his kaupapa of healing, helping whānau to heal, helping men to know that it's okay to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That it's okay to say I'm not okay.
Yeah.
Hey. So yeah, that's how I came across Brother Lucky and them. They were up there with our MG brothers and all that, and Brother H and them, and that was us. We just got into it. And
what did you think when you came into that space and you began to hear and kind of really sense the hearts of people in the room and that vulnerability and what Kingdom Brotherhood were doing when you came into that space? What were your first impressions?
Just because they're blue and we're red and all of that stuff, they still have trauma like we do. We have trauma, and to be able to sit down and listen to the kaupapa and to how our brothers were responding to some of the questions and allowing themselves to be vulnerable was amazing. Amazing to see full-grown men, gangsters, able to drop all their guards and allow themselves to be vulnerable.
Yeah. How important to you, in the work that you're doing with community, how important is vulnerability for men to be able to drop the barriers and to expose their inner pain, almost like it's the inner child within, that small boy that is in all of us, that kind of stops growing at times when we have deep wounding. How important is that vulnerability in your mind?
It's really important. It's one of the key tools of healing, really.
Yeah.
There's forgiveness, there's love, and there's vulnerability. You have to be vulnerable in order to heal. You have to allow yourself to feel that mamai. You have to allow yourself. Most men, when they feel it, we tend to cut it off. Why? Because we're staunch. We're staunch. We will never drop our vulnerability. Because of the healing that I've done on myself and the mahi that I've had to do on myself, I understood what was going on, and I knew that, geez, vulnerability is a big thing to do with healing. So it's most, if you want to heal from even trauma, addictions, anything, you have to take steps to heal from
Be
the
real.
You can't just say, oh, I'm going to give up today. That's me, I'm done. Hey, you know, you've got to get a lot of support behind you. A lot of support is a big thing. It's a big thing for healing. So yeah, for me, vulnerability is a big thing. It's one of the hardest things to work on because we're men. We're gangsters. We're caps of over 24, 50 men. For us to drop our guards, to be vulnerable back in the Ras, it would be frowned upon. Hey, it would be frowned upon. Even holding hands with your wife was frowned upon. Hey, that was all frowned upon. But that's a new generation. It's a new generation today. And today it's all about how can we keep our families safe? How can we make sure that our kids, our tamariki mokopuna, are safe from trauma, are safe from abuse, all of that stuff. So yeah, that's how I look at vulnerability. I believe that we all need to, you know, pay homage to him too. You know, pay homage to him for giving us life, the air that we breathe. You know, the kids that he helps us create between man and wife. And the biggest thing that he's given us is the sacrifice of his own son. He gave his son's life for us to live. His creation.
Amen.
So, you know, what kind of sacrifice is that if we're not sacrificing something for him too? How I run our chapter. So our structure, I says to our brothers, I'm not going to open up another chapter unless we have a structure. So we came up with it. So we came up in our structure, there is no selling or smoking of methamphetamine in our chapter. There is none of that. We are to be family orientated. So family days, taking them all our families out, get pipis, get oysters, go and whack the ball around. You know, without alcohol and drugs involved in it. You know, we can still enjoy our day without those kind of things in our lives. So family orientated, we train and we also work. So I've got all our young brothers into mahi to be working so that it takes away the stealing. It takes away the stealing. It gives them a belief that, if you work hard, you can get a treat. Hey, instead of stealing nanny's mower or our neighbours' mowers and that just to get a treat. So I get them to work. I figure out what they, I try and figure out what they want to be, not what I want them to be. I try and figure out what they want to be, and then I try and push them towards it.
And you've been on quite a journey. You're talking about P, within your own community. Tell me a little bit about the community and the challenges that it had with meth and the work that you've been doing there on both sides of the fence of the community and the dealers to try and bring healing and wholeness. You were sharing a little bit about that with me prior to filming. I found that fascinating.
So I spent, I'll just go back into my own, I always like to go back and talk about thyself, never anyone else. I can't speak about anyone, especially if they're not here. So I always take it back to my own journey, which was the journey of recovery. I spent 16 years and some smoking methamphetamine, and I've destroyed a lot of homes, and I've destroyed a lot of good men, and I've destroyed a lot of good family members. And you know, I did that in my addiction. I destroyed a lot of homes. I was the devastation of selling methamphetamine in our town and Tāne Atua, and I did a lot of hurtful things, especially you know, the ones that suffered the most would be my beautiful wife, and my beautiful children, my 3 girls and my young fella, and my mokos who really got the real grunt of all of my addiction. And I was very cruel to them, very cruel. It was my way or the highway, all of that stuff. A lot of swearing at them and cursing. I know we're not allowed to swear on here, so I'm going to keep that to myself. So a lot of hateful things towards each other.
Yeah.
We loved each other, but the relationship was really, really toxic due to the smoking of methamphetamine and to the intake of methamphetamine. And then looking on the outer skirts, my behaviours out there, I had other gang members chasing me for their money because I had ripped them off, because I had punched their shop over for PE, all of those things. I had other people chasing me from far and wide. So, all I could see was death. I gave my wife a lot of trauma, but she stepped away. She did a program called Legacy. It's to do with the church and all that, but take away the church thing, and there's actually some healing in
Core,
there.
eh?
Yeah, in the core of it, there's actually healing, and especially for our wahine who lose their mana because of their tānes.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, and so she went there, she did a 15-week program. I hadn't seen her for 15 weeks, and I was really mad because I thought she had left me for someone else, and I was going through jealousy and anxieties, and I was still high. And then she came back 15 weeks later, and I saw her, and she had this real beautiful aura. She was happy. Yeah, so my wife came back after 16 weeks. She stepped away from me. She couldn't heal herself because I had her suppressed. I had her mentally stuck in her own whakaaros. Her wairua was damaged. And then she came back, and I was sitting there, bag of pee, sitting there with my pipe. Hey, who the bloody hell's this woman? Jeez.
Yeah.
She's beautiful. And she turned around, and it was my wife.
Wow.
I went, whoa. I want that. What has she got? She's happy. And because for 16 years, I've sat in the dark, the cold, the makariri, I already knew what hell looked like.
Yeah.
But I wanted some of that. And she approached me, and she says, hi, how have you been, Dad? I'm broken.
Yeah.
I can't do it. She says, when I come and watch me graduate, I graduate. Hey, what were you doing? I did a program to help me get my mana wahine.
Bro.
Wow.
She says, well, yeah, I'll come and help. So I watched her graduate as hard as it was, as much as I was coming down. I watched my wife graduate, and I watched her happy in her own skin. And then when we left, I cried whanau. I broke down, my brother. I broke right down. I was broken. I was a shattered man. I was a lost man.
Yeah.
I was what they would say. I was a dog without a patch.
Yeah.
And I was lonely. I was cold. I was tired of being tired. And I broke down. I just pulled the car over and started crying, looking at this stuff. And I had bags of meth and pipe full of pee. And I just looked at my wife. I said, "You got to help me. Got to help me. I want out. I want out. I've had enough. I'm going to die, or I'm going to end up in jail for a very, very long time.
Yeah, babe.
You've got to help me, babe." All through my addiction, she's done nothing but given time and energy to my recovery.
Awesome.
And all she asked for was her papa back,
Yeah.
her one and only love. And today she has it. Today she has it. Today I am 2 years and 8 months clean off methamphetamine.
Wow.
It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of convincing myself. But the first thing I had to do was forgive.
Yeah,
I had to forgive myself more than others because of the mamai and the damage that I had put on and bestowed upon myself affected me.
Yeah.
So I had to undo all these mamais that I had placed upon myself, which was like you were saying about vulnerability. That's when that kicks in.
Yeah.
I had to become vulnerable. I had to cry. I went into my first mana enhancing meeting, and all I could hear was people talking about their addictions, and all I could think about, what a bunch of lunatics sitting here crying about your fella's addiction. Kare. I found myself going back to these meetings. And then I found myself crying.
Yeah.
Crying,
Silent
breaking down because of all the mamai that I did to myself. And once I learned how to forgive myself, I started learning to forgive others.
Others, yeah.
I started learning to...
Starts with you, eh?
Yeah,
Hey, brother.
it starts with yourself. Everything in healing's got to be done by thyself. So it's a real deep conversation you have to have with yourself to be able to rip those mamais out and just put them on the thing and say, I'm done.
Yeah.
And they no longer belong to me.
Hey.
They belong to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are your mamais.
Do you think it's a fair statement to say that everybody that goes on it is using it to some form of self-medicate themselves to feel better in some way, shape or form?
Yeah. Some way, shape or form.
Yeah.
There's always a trauma behind something.
Always.
There's
That's what
always
I've
a
noticed.
trauma behind something.
Yeah.
There's another way where peer pressure. Peer pressure is
It's real, eh?
it's real. My brother,
real.
want to try?
Yeah.
No, I'm all right, brother. Next week, want to try?
Yeah.
Fuck, what's the saying? You sit in a barber chair long enough, you're going to get a haircut. So, so that's the saying I always use. You're going to sit around that long enough, you're going to end up picking it up.
That's true. I just want to know, what's your mission? Touch on it a bit, what you're doing with the brothers, but what is your mission for the Tani Atua, TNT Mangomo? What's your mission for them?
To see them happy.
Yeah.
Hey, to see them happy without a substance.
Yeah, babe.
To see them strive without having to be on a substance. To allow them to be free.
Yeah.
Hey, the old school was pretty vicious. I do believe in the old school. Some
Yeah.
of the ways are still good. Some of the ways, like the old twack here and there, we call them pineapple lumps. Hey, you want to get cheeky, get a pineapple lump. So, some of the old ways I still believe in, but then there's some ways where we need to, hey, this needs to change. Why? Because you tried that 100 years ago and it never worked. So let's try something different.
Yeah.
Hey, brother.
Where is God in your life now, bro?
Bro, God is in everyone's life.
Yeah.
Whether you're Mongolmo, Black Pearl, Tribesman, Killer Bee, God is sitting right next to us every day.
Yeah.
The only time he becomes not part of your life is when you give up hope and faith on him. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to jump back. You talked about helping to get the different guys in your club into jobs, to be able to break those cycles of crime and everything like that. When people look at the gangs who haven't had the opportunity to actually build real connection and relationship, and all they've known is what they've seen through mainstream news and things like that.
Stigmas.
And they go, oh, see a patch, they're either breaking the law, dealing drugs, criminal, things like that. There's always brokenness, and then, you get 2 people in the room, you're going to have brokenness. You get 20 people in the room, you've got 20 times more brokenness. So I know that there's always an element where you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. With what you're doing and the heart that you have for your chapter, as it keeps growing and what you're building, what would you say to people who say, oh, it's just a well-constructed criminal organisation, and you said, oh, this is a family support group? What would you share with those people who have all those doubts, all those fears, all those suspicions? What would you want to share with them as they're watching now, hearing you talking about the mahi that you're doing with your chapter?
Come and see for yourself. Talk for me is talk.
Yeah.
But you got to be there with me to walk. So you can see the change. From where our little rohe was, murders, just like every other rohe, murders, black power, fighting black power, to where it is now. I can walk up to my black power brothers and say, more than a brother, without having to stab each other in the left or the right. Hey, so I'd like to tell whanau out there, don't judge us. Yeah. Don't judge us if you've never been us. Please don't judge us for the wrongs that we do. We do try and make it right through our generations. We are trying something different these days. Please, if you've got questions, know my haramai.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm an open book. I don't hide nothing from no one. If you want to know something, come and see us instead of getting it from a second-hand person. We live and struggle just as any other person does.
Everybody.
Everyone, we're all in the same boat, the rat race. We're all in that where none of us are taking time out just to appreciate each other. None of us take our shoes off to get our feet in the ground, to appreciate the earth and Papa Tuanuku and all she does for us. None of us take the time to look up at Aninui and say, thank you. You know, we're all in a rat race, and we're all in a race to either suppress us down. You know, we could do a million things right, and only takes one thing to F it all up. You know, and then there's all the needles and the pins and the daggers are coming again. So all I have to say to them is come. Come like how you did, Brother Jared, when you came to Te Ani, you know, when you sat with us, you came, kanohi ki te kanohi, and you sat with us and you got to live a bit of how we live and what we go through, and you got to see, and it gave you a different perspective of, geez, you know, they don't just run around, you know, kicking people's doors in and stuff like that. They don't just go around taking Nanny's scooter off her. Or, you know, no, we don't just do those things. A lot of things we try and do is keep our boys working, keep them happy. You know how to treat a woman, the value of a woman. You know, and for me, I'm a strong man. Yes, I'm a strong man, but that machine behind the scenes, even a stronger woman. Without her, you know, without her being your backbone. And you know, I don't know if many men say it, but we've got to have them. We have to have our wives next to us.
Solid.
So.
With the change that you're bringing and you're leading, how much of it is you're going, well, I'm instigating this change now and I'm seeing it happen, versus I'm believing for generational change, one step at a time. All progress is progress. You know, what is it that you're actually building towards and believing for at the moment?
I want to build better future leaders. That's where I'm striving to get to, so that they make the right choices for my tuatoru, my tuarua. Those are just my third generation grandkids, my fourth generation grandkids. I want to be able to know when I leave this earth, I left a good legacy for our brothers to keep huarahi not. They don't have to walk it the same, but like I said, some of the old school is still good to have around. They can use what I had built and then make it their own. So I just want them to be independent. I don't want them to dwell into drugs and alcohol to be the sole cause of their money making. You know, I want them to be independent. I want them to have a beautiful relationship. And I love the mob. I love the mob to the bone. And I want them to have that too. Because without the mob, we would never ever meet each other. We would never ever know each other. And the love and the brotherhood in our gangs is just beautiful.
Do you think that there's potential over the generations, as more healing takes place, more traumas are healed, that some of the stigma that is attached to the mob now of how society sees them and how the gangs are represented, do you think this change is possible, that, you know, in 3-4 generations from now, you know, what is largely been seen as a criminal organisation by the mainstream public would be looked at as a source of hope and healing for communities, that it could have a total different narrative as things progress?
Yeah, everything comes with time. So like the old school, you turn the switch once and you leave it there. If you keep turning it with the old school, they're going to bite. Because they're not used to change. You with the old, with ata haere, take your time. So make a change, a little slight change, leave it there. I do believe that. But if we rush it, we will mess it all up.
But you're there for the long haul anyway.
So this huarahi is not about, it's not about how fast to find the fix. This huarahi is about endurance. How much ihi and wehi and mana do you have to push this huarahi? Huarahi is just a journey. Just a journey. How you know, we're on a journey. So addiction, it's not a destination, it's a journey. So you know, that's what I think anyway, my bro.
Awesome.
So a question I got for you, Bill, is how many people are you discipling at the moment, would you think?
If I had to put a number on it, that we're discipling hundreds. I've had a lot of whanau, not just the mob. Not just
no, that's right.
Not my mob whanau. The spaces that we have created doesn't discriminate. Mana and Hātung stop, so the acronym is stop taking our people That was created by a couple of whanau members from te whanau Apanui me te Aroha, who came up with mana enhancing
Yeah, that's
stop. Why did we create that? Was because we couldn't gravitate to NAs and AAs. Hey, we couldn't grasp onto the 12 steps.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't understand what the 12 steps meant.
Yeah. So
You
you do
know.
it your way, eh?
So we put te ao Māori,
Yeah.
and we put our te ao Māori, our tikana behind it. You know, their 12 steps, our 12 heavens.
Yeah.
Those kind of things, you know, we're similar.
Yeah.
But we couldn't gravitate to it. So they came up with that, mana enhancing stop. When I got into it, it's all run by either whānaus in the gangs. So our main po, her tāne is our cap, our barbarian cap. Her name's Pauline Tai, and I always pay homage to her because she helped me get to where I am today. She supported me very, very well to get to where I am today. We started these groups and we had to tell each other that methamphetamine didn't discriminate.
That's right.
It took Mongo mob, it's
Anybody.
taking black power, it's
Anybody.
taking police officers and lawyers, it's taking everyone.
Yeah.
So the space does not discriminate.
Yeah.
And so that's the tikana. And kawas, we do have, you know, we live by principles, which is Māori, mana and tapu.
Yeah.
You know, those are our principles that we hold ourselves to. And we lay no judgment and no, you know, everything you say to us is confidential. See, the only one that hears judgment or sees judgment, all the confidence is te whalate.
Yeah.
He's the only one at the end of the day can tell
Yeah.
you, boom, everyone else doesn't matter. So that's the safety of the ropu, is to be able to bring our whānau in and them knowing that their kōreros go nowhere and we don't judge them because, you know, some of the whānau stories are very, very deep.
Yeah.
Very, very deep. So you got to
Yeah.
fire out what's going on here. How can I support them? So you find ideas. So yeah, that's I've helped hundreds of people. My brother, if I had to put a number on it.
That's right.
So yeah, there's not a number there
Yeah.
that can cater for, but there's also a lot of families still
That's
out
right.
there that we need to be wrapping around, you know. So, yeah.
I have been privileged to see the TNT Mango Mwawe from Tane Atua. Been in your presence a number of times with some of the stuff that we've been running with you, and bro, I can see the change in those brothers, and I know that change will continue because I know your heart to keep teaching and bringing the right people in and doing what you do to lift them,
Yeah.
to lift them up and to free them and bring peace into their lives. And I have been the privilege to see it, and so is Daryl. And bro, like I said at the start, I just want to honour you for your heart for what you're doing, bro. It's solid and it's pono. So God bless you.
Too much, my brother.
Thank you, Billy.
Thank you.
Yeah, bro.
Fantail Studios is a registered charity creating powerful shows through the help of generous givers. To find out more about supporting Mana Atua and helping us bring this incredible film to life, please visit fantailstudios.com.